Hi and welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to change or how to repair these arm parts on the doors of a Kia Soul. As you can see, this is another common fault, and it's just through wear. So where they get rubbed and manhandled, eventually the beige colour rubs off and you're left with this nasty blue stuff underneath. So my plan for today is to take these off and respray them black, because lots of other parts of the car are black, so I can get away with having those black. I don't have this particular beige colour, or vanilla I believe it's called, to match. So I'm going to go with black because that should still look alright. There is a little screw that goes in there, so I've used a little electrical screw driver just to pop that off and take that screw out. I'm going to be removing this, and it just pops off with a plastic remover. And then there are some screws behind here, so I'm going to just pop these covers off. One there, there's one there, and it doesn't look like there's one at the bottom, so at the moment it looks like 3. So once I remove those screws, then I will lift the door card and it should just pop out with a little bit of elbow grease. That should pop out. Also, there's another screw behind there. So you have to take this one out. To show you there. So you take that screw out, and then you pull this bit out over the lever here. So this plastic bit here, comes off once you unscrew it, and then you just gently ease it over the lever. But don't forget to take that screw out. So once I've got all the screws removed, I've got an old egg fryer spatula here, and I'm going to use that to get underneath, and you have to pop the door card out of its poppers before lifting it up. So I'm just going to use that so I don't scratch the plastic. Okay, so I've popped the plastic out, and you lift the door card upwards. So it sits there, and then you just lift it upwards over that lip, and what you'll find is that it's actually connected. So there's some wiring here. That's for your windows and electric mirrors as well if you have them. So all you have to do is there's some clips there. There's one there and one there. So you just squeeze the ends and unclip them, and then your door card is free. I've put the door card inside, and as I suspected, there's lots of screws on the back here, and so I think I'm going to start off with these two, and actually these ones around the edges, until I get the bit off that I need. I've worked out which screws you have to undo, and it is pretty much all of them. So that one there, those two there, and all 4 of these. There was also a little bit sticking through, I think. Oh, these 4 here. So you have to undo these these screws right here as well. So it's pretty much all of them. There are 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 12 screws to undo. They're all the big ones, and then once you've done that, you'll be able to, you have to give it a little pull and a little tug, and then that bit comes off. So what I'm going to have to do now, because I don't want to spray the black controls, is just remove the screws. That's one there. There's two at the top, two at the bottom, and one at the end there. So I'm going to have to remove those 6 screws just to get that control unit off, because I don't want to spray that. So I've now removed the screws. There was 3 holding this bit in place. 2 here, 1 at the end, and then 3 holding this bit in place. So the next part I'm going to do is just give this rest a good clean. I've got some soapy water here, so I'm going to wash it and wipe it, try and get all the grease and dirt off, and then I'll rinse all the bubbles off, and then dry it. Here you go. So the next thing I'm going to do on this, it's just got 1 or 2 little bubbles on it where the plastic has popped up. So I'm going to just use a little bit of light sandpaper just to get rid of some of those bubbles. I think it's kind of like a rubber material, so I'm not quite sure whether I need to sand the whole thing down or not. And you would sand it down really. If it was metal, you'd give it a light sanding down so that there's some rough edges for the paint or the primer to stick to. But because this is a different material, I'm not 100% sure whether it needs sanding down. So what I'm going to do is just get the bubbles off, all the little odd bits that are sticking up, and then just test it with the spray to see if I can spray straight on it without having to sand it all. So here's what happened. I found so many odd little bubbles and stuff that I decided that I'd just sand it all anyway. Now I'm going to have a go at spraying. I don't have a garage, so I'm using a shed. If you don't have either of those, you can do it outside. I've done it before outside on the grass. Make sure you have paper underneath. Make sure the paper's weighted down as well. Just in case you have a little gust of wind and it blows the paper up and it will stick to whatever it is you're spray painting. If you are doing it outside also, you need good weather, so you ideally want a day where it's not windy and it's just a pleasant day. The wind will blow the spray if you do it in windy conditions. So the paint I'm using is this black gloss black paint that I picked up from Poundland. So it's £1 a tin. I've used it before and it's okay. And there's the lacquer that I'm going to put on top of it I got from eBay. I've used that before too. So you might be asking, why am I using a cheap spray paint? Well, this is £1. If I go to my local Halford store, I'm looking at paying £6.50. And I always weigh it up. I don't tend to keep my cars for that long. It depends how long they really maintain my attention. And so I always look at the money that I'm putting in. Will I get it back when I come to sell the car on? And something like this I could do with, you know, 1 tin of paint for £1. And if I spent £6.50 on a tin of paint, would I get that back when I come to sell the car on? Is someone going to say, oh yeah, look, I can see that that's really good quality paint? The truth is, they're not going to know the difference. And so it's a false economy, I think, to use expensive paint on this. So whenever I buy stuff for the car, I always think about, you know, will I get that back, or will I cover it when I come to sell the car on? The only exception to that is anything to do with safety. So for instance, if I get brake pads, then I won't just buy cheap ones of those. I'll buy known brand brake pads which have been properly tested. So safety is the exception to that rule. So let's have a go. So when it comes to spraying, you can't rush it, so you need to take your time. and just do it in light layers. So I've not sprayed this material before, so I don't know how the paint's going to settle on it, but I'm about to find out. So I'm just going to have a little quick spray on the paper here just to get rid of any muck from the nozzle, and then I'm gently going to spray the bit that's in view. So this is how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do little light coats like that. If you try and put it all on in one go, it will run, or it will drip, and it just won't look very good. So it's going to be gentle coats like that, one at a time. Probably going to take me a good 3 or 4 goes, both sides, and to get in all the little crevices and that, until it's done. So I've just went to move it round to make sure I've got all the gaps, and there's no beige bits like there. And I noticed that the paint squidged here, so you can kind of rub it off with your finger. So that's obviously because of the type of material that it is. I'm going to continue onwards. This particular bit here is hidden behind the door card anyway. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue painting this, and then I'm going to wait for it to dry for a good hour or two before I put the lacquer on, and hopefully the lacquer will seal it so it doesn't do that, but we can only wait and see. I finished spraying this one, and as you can see, it doesn't come up too bad if I take it out in the light. The little specks and that you can see on it is because it's a dusty environment. I tried to remove as much dust as possible, but like I said before, when you haven't got a garage and that, it makes things a bit harder. What I'm going to do with the next one, because I'm not 100% sure how that paint's going to settle, so with the next one, I've already taken this one off, sanded it and cleaned it. So with this one, I'm going to use some white primer. This is a Simone's one as well. So I'm going to put the primer on before I put the black paint. And the primer, what that does is it forms a surface on top of the plastic for the paint to stick to. So it's kind of like an in-between glue, if you like. So I'm going to use that first on this one and then spray it black, because I'm not 100% sure whether the paint's going to stay on this one. So I'm going to put this one somewhere dry now and just let that dry off for an hour or two, and then I'm going to finger touch it and just see whether the paint still comes off, because you can see there, just where I've put my thumb on it, it comes off, and that's kind of a schoolboy error really. I should know that from previous experience where I've sprayed plastic before, but I'm going to give it a go, and I'll keep you updated. So this one is the passenger door one. I've just sprayed it with primer, and as you can see, it gives a really nice finish actually, and the primer I think fills in all the little bumps and stuff as well. So I think I'm going to end up having to sand down the other one and do it again with primer. So here's my finished armrest bit. I've left it for a good hour or two now to dry, and so I'm just going to put some lacquer over it. As you can still see the little dents and scratches, but we'll see how it goes. I can always take them off and redo them again. So So just like the spray paint, I'm going to do a few coats, but thin layers, so it goes on gradually. Here are my armrests now. I left them overnight, and as you can see, I had an issue with that one. I had to sand it down again. That's the passenger, and that's the driver's side. So if I'm being honest, I'm not 100% happy with them. But I suppose the real question is, do I think they're better than how they were before? So I'm going to fit them now to the door cards and put them back in the car. So here are the door cards, so the door handles fitted back to the door cards. And I've changed my mind again, I think they look alright. But I'm going to put the doors back now for our final viewing. So here they are, fitted on, and actually I'm quite pleased with them. They are better than they were before. Obviously only time's going to tell how well the paint stays on, but they feel pretty smooth. I think they're going to take a little bit of wear and tear before it starts to fade. Just a couple of tips for you when you are replacing them. This is a passenger one. Firstly, I've removed and replaced lots of door cards, and traditionally they're a bit of a nightmare. You end up snapping poppers and stuff, but these are probably the easiest door cards to replace that I've ever used. Once you've connected the wire at the back to the switches, you just sit this top part. There's a little lip underneath here. You just slip the top part on and it will fit quite easily, and then you just bang the poppers in and put the screws back. It is so simple. One little tip for you, which is here, this bit here where you put the screw in, make sure you pop this bit out before you put the door card back. I didn't do it on the other one over there, and then had to use a little screwdriver to prise it open to put the screw in. So since you're not likely to be opening and closing that very much, pop it open before you put the door card back on, and then put the screw in and do it up. But yeah, that's the final result. And I'm happy with that. I think it's an improvement.